All right, guys. So if you're here, you're trying to figure out how do we make a custom Docker network, right? So firstly, what do we mean by that? What we mean is by having a custom Docker network, what we're essentially saying is that we can have all our containers assigned to that network where they communicate, have IP addresses strictly within that network. Okay. So one of the first things you're going to want to make sure you do, so you are going to need to have Docker off for this. Okay. But what you're going to need to do is you're going to want to make sure that your Docker custom network type is Mac VLAN. Okay. This will not work with IP VLAN. Okay. So make sure it's Mac V. And then you are probably going to want to enable, I'm sorry, not that, say yes to the preserve user defined networks if you want to make sure it doesn't get deleted, depending on how many different custom networks you want to do. My understanding is that this impacts or this prevents Unraid from deleting networks that you make in the command line. Which is going to be important because sometimes you won't even have this. Sometimes this won't be here. So if this isn't here, that's fine. I'm gonna show you what you need to do. But do have this on yes. Like I said, if you're gonna need to create it manually, or if you're gonna need to have like more than one network for all kinds of fancy stuff, because you clearly ain't gonna be able to do it here in the UI. But if you are able to see it here, then it's just that easy, right? You Mac VLAN, you make sure all this is good, and then you are going to just simply check this box. Now, here's the thing, okay? You could, if you want to get fancy with it, you could have Unraid also, or Docker, right? Really, Docker handle IP address assignments. Okay. I tried to find a way to get my router to be the one to answer this, but I haven't really figured it out yet. And so the best that my understanding is on to get it to sort of work is that you could maybe, it's especially easy if you got like a custom firmware router like OpenWrt, like all my routers run OpenWrt. So this would be relatively, I guess, sort of easy, where I could just have my router start off at a certain what's the word I'm looking for, at a certain range, like maybe like from 112 up, it'll assign stuff, and that way that would allow me to give Unraid from 0 up to like X amount of hosts to be able to assign his IP addresses. I don't mess with it, so I usually leave this alone, but this is what you would do if you wanted to get this to also do automatic IP assignments. You probably only want to do it that anyway, but I thought it'd be important to mention. So let me just go ahead and just turn that back off. I'm gonna also throw my IPv6 on here too, because I like to do IPv6 stuff. But here we go, right? So cool. So we're gonna go ahead and apply this. Now, what do we do if you guys actually do not have this, right? Well, you are going to have to, I'm sorry, then I need to enable you, right? You are going to have to create the network yourself, okay? And how you do that is going to be somewhat easy, okay? So first and foremost, one thing I should have probably mentioned at the start that you do want to check is you do want to check your network settings. Now, there shouldn't be a reason, because I want to say this is defaulted on a lot of installs as far as I'm aware, but you just want to make sure that, you do have bridging on, right? Bridging is needed for your VMs and Docker containers. If for a reason it's not on, make sure you do have that, okay? But now let's go ahead and let's jump to the console. So first thing I'm going to do is let me just go here in the Docker container for later, right? And let us now go ahead and jump into the terminal. You could SSH, right? Or you could just jump straight in from, the nice little GUI button. Okay. So what is the command? Well, I actually have that written down here. So let me go ahead and copy and paste it, and we'll go through it. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and let's go through it, right? So first and foremost, I wish this great block thing was in here, but all right, so let's start with Docker network create, right? So this is the command that you're going to do to create the network, right? Simple enough, okay? The driver is going to be bridge, right? And then the subnet, this is the important part, right? The subnet is what you're going to do to set, like that IP address range that, you can assign to it. And that's what I'm gonna do, right? So I'm gonna go ahead, and this is just demonstration since I already have like the, you know, IP range that my server is on. For just this purpose, I'm going to give it like this here, 167, right? Gateway is important. You want the gateway to be the router, right? So whatever, you know, is the gateway that the server connects to, you're going to want to make sure that that matches here. So my my router, which is handing out these IP addresses over here, and I'm glad I'm even talking about it, because we're going to go ahead and just for, you know, to be proper, even though this is all fake, right? I'm gonna go ahead and change that to 167 too, just so that, you know, there's no confusion. Okay, I'm going to you know, set this to the router IP address, and then I'm going to give it a name, and this is going to be called demo.net. So let me go ahead and hit enter there, and then boom, right? This is what I assume to be the name and birth of our custom network. Now, how do I know it worked? All right, so what I can do is I can go ahead and I can come over here and look at that. You see, it comes up right then and there. And then there you go, right? I'm able to then set a IP address. So I know it worked. And then this is what I meant about, you know, making sure you said yes on the preserve user defined networks, because let's go ahead and test that out, right? So if I was to turn this off and then back on, I'm pretty sure it's going to, you know, I mean, it's supposed to, right? It should nuke that thing. Yeah, I don't know if maybe it would have came up if I had also checked this as yes, but I'm gonna leave this off because I don't need it. Hit apply, and let's go back, right? It's important that I show you guys that this does actually happen, and I'm not crazy here, right? This is just one of those just really weird quirks with Unraid. I don't know if maybe there was a change, because I remember going through this before where I turned it off, back on, and my networks were gone. So let's docker network ls, and it's still there. I don't know why and how that's the case. So you know what? Fine. Okay. I guess if it wants to sit there and lie to you and says that it's preserving networks, it even says explicitly here, right? Networks created by the user outside the GUI, right? And you saw we just did it in the UI. We just did it, not here. Let me close that, right? We just did it in the terminal, excuse me, right? We just did it in the terminal, and it's not going away. Maybe it does it on reboot or something, or maybe it's because I also have this in directory. Maybe it doesn't delete it. Maybe it doesn't delete the directory. Is that what it's doing? I mean, it ain't but one way to check. I'm sorry, guys. You know, this is supposed to be just a quick video on making a Docker network thing, and like here I am now, just trying to figure out why it's like acting crazy to me. Okay, I guess right here in the files, right? And local, okay, you know what? Never mind. You know what? It's fine, right? So it's still there for whatever reason. And of course, if you want to remove it, you're going to have to do this, right? Which is going to be the prune or RM, right? In this case, I'm probably just going to use the RM. So I'm just going to grab the network ID here and do Docker, move my microphone out the way here. What is it? Docker network RM, and then the network ID for said network we just made. And then boom, right? I deleted it. Okay, cool. So that's that, right? And that is going to be a really rough tutorial there on how to create the custom Docker network, right? So just to recap, right? You know, you're going to disable your Docker real quick so that way you can actually make changes to the settings. Hopefully these are here for you. If they are, cool, because then you could just check them, hit yes, and they're all good. If not, then you already saw the commands that we used, right, in order to create the network. Docker network create. you know, how you want it, and then boom, right, it creates the network. And then from that point on, right, you have your containers where you can select that network, give it the IP address, and then you're golden. It'll have that IP address, right? And so as long as the gateway is set to your router, you shouldn't have any problems, right? Or whatever, you know, is the, you know, your funnel point, your gateway. But yeah, so that's that. You know, thank you guys for stopping by, for watching our. So yeah, so that's that, and I'm sorry that was like not as quite as smooth as I wanted it to be, but it is you know, good showing nevertheless on like how crazy, you know, doing this stuff can be, which is the reason why I kind of make these videos to begin with, right? Because it's important to really show you, right? Show you how epic Unraid can tend to be. And so now we're going to go ahead and end the video here, and you'll see me in the next one, which is going to be for making our Crush FTP 11 container. So you guys take care.